So this is Quantum, um, and this is my character Nadia. She's my Nightblade healer. She does a little bit of DPS, but I'll explain some of this. I have a couple of options and an overall arcing concept behind the build that you saw in the PvP video. Um, uh, and she does good in a whole bunch of content. Pretty good in the trial as well, but um, basically the concept was yours, really. The idea of healing in PvP, and I actually was floating something similar before your video, but then I thought, gosh, if I could get credit for other people doing the fighting, and I wonder if I could do that and just drop stealth heals, uh, and just if and still get credit for AP, then that would be pretty awesome. And then uh, because I've seen where I've even heard in chat where people are like, get the healer, and distract the enemy with my evasiveness as a Nightblade. Well, that could have its advantages. Be a troll, right? And so I thought it'd be a fun gameplay style. So I kind of took your concept and built on it a little bit. And this is kind of what I came up with. And there's a lot of different little options. But I also found a couple of little tricks. Now, this is my first character in ESO. And so there are a couple of things I've noticed and learned that I don't think anybody else has really caught on, and I think you'll really like it because I don't see anyone else doing it. And one of those things is specifically about sneaking. Obviously, speed is king with sneaking, right? And I have good speed, right? You got your champion points and all this, and I'll get into that. But it's not just the sneaking and all that. It's about mobility, and because when you sneak and you reposition, the faster you can reposition, the more confusing it's going to be to the guys who can't see you from point A, and when you reappear at point B. So the faster between those 2 points that you can get from point A to point B, the more confusing it's going to be for the enemies that you're fighting, right? So mobility is part of the equation, but also when you do pop out of stealth, you want it to be quick. You want to get in, do what you got to do, and get back out. And I found there's a couple of interesting things to note about stealth that I don't think a lot of people have really taken time to notice. One of those things is stealth. When you damage, I think people kind of get the idea that when they first make an attack, they do pop out of stealth, right? See how I'm stealth right now? And then as soon as I pull the trigger on my controller, bam, I go out of stealth. I'm no longer stealth, right? So building on this concept, the rule is that if you do any damage at all, it will bring you out of stealth. And then actually, this isn't the only game on the internet right now that has that rule. Warframe, I do testing for Warframe, and they have the same rule. So, and one day I was playing a PvP match, and I couldn't figure out why, no matter how many times I hit my shadow, I was sitting there spamming it, and no matter how many times I hit it, I kept getting revealed. And I was like, did they, I didn't see the little glowy orb around me, so nobody revealed me. I'm like, why are they seeing me? And you know what the problem was? I was using poisons. I was using DOTs. damage over time. Uh, so rule number one is anytime you do damage as a Nightblade, at all, it'll take you out of stealth. And that means uh, including lingering damage over time effects. So right now, I don't have a poison on my staff. So when I hit this dummy, it's going to take me out of stealth. But then when I go back into stealth, I'll go right back into stealth, and I won't have a problem. So see, it takes me out of stealth. Then I can go right back in, no problem. Right now, he can see me, but I'm crouched. I'm still getting the benefit of crouching. And I'll talk about that later, why that's a benefit and why I say that. But so where this is important, and where I'm getting at with this is I'm going to add a poison here, right? Now watch this. When this poison is applied, it's going to be a very different matter. I'm going to hit this thing, and then I'm going to try to go back into stealth, and I won't be able to. Now, as soon as it applies, does it apply poison? Apply the poison? Oh, you poisoned me? It's not applying poison. Why isn't it applying poison? There it goes. Okay, now watch. I'm going to try to apply it, but as soon as it ticks... Oh, it didn't take me out. Okay, so it's not applying poisons, I guess. But that's good to know because I had questions about that. I'm going to come in here then and go to the skills that I know are going to cause the problem. Now, there are two types of Path of Darkness, two morphs of it. The first is Refreshing Path, which is for healing. It's an awesome skill, which is what I would do and use. But I'm going to show you this one to make my point. This one does a damaging version. And this is going to be an excellent demonstration of what I'm trying to talk about. So come up here, put it here. Alright, so I'm going to cast this skill and then try to go back into stealth, and you'll see no matter how many times I try to go back into stealth, it's going to take me out of stealth because the skill I laid down keeps damaging in. So, and then I'm going to try to go back into stealth, it pops me back up. Pops me back up. Pops me back up. There it goes again. See? See? So, in order to be able to do what you saw me doing in that battle as a healer. Now, as a DPS, sure, I want to hop out. I want to try to do as much damage as I can, but if I can't, I want to be able to hop back into stealth. Well, as a healer, I'm not doing a whole lot of damage. I'm, the last thing I want to do is lay down something on the ground. And it seems kind of counterintuitive because for us healers, we tend to think that I want to drop down a path or a bomb on the ground and let it sit there causing as much damage as possible, and then I want to run away and hide in the shadows while it does the work for me. And it doesn't work that way. I drop that thing on the ground and it's going to keep me from being able to hide according to the rules of the game, right? So what you want to do is you want to have skills that do damage directly and only directly the one time and be done. That's it. That's so it's a one time per occurrence when you do any kind of damage. And then that will allow you to guarantee that when you try to go back into stealth, you will be able to go back into stealth unless somebody uses a revealing countermeasure. And that would be okay, but then you're not griefing yourself. They are legitimately revealing you. It's not you revealing yourself. So, um, and what's go? Oh yeah, it was. So we'll go here back to the rest of stuff here. Now, I'll show you heals. Heals do not have a problem. I can come over here, and you'll notice this in the video I sent you. I can heal and go right back into stuff. That's actually even faster than this. I'll literally do this. This regeneration thing. And what enemies will see in PvP is me pop up, do a heal, they'll see the beams come from me, and they'll see a line, big yellow beam pointing right to me where I'm at in my location. So they'll know where I am in that split second. But because I move so fast, by the time they get there or start shooting that direction, I'm gone. I'm gone. I am not there anymore. When I go like this with my, area of effect heals, or spamming my regeneration, or even doing my stamina version, I'm there suddenly, and then suddenly gone again, right? And by the time these guys realize that I am keeping my party alive and that I'm present, and they start trying to look for me, the game's halfway over. and then they have a hard time even trying to find me. So mobility is a big part of it. And so you go to my champion points, and unsurprisingly you're going to find I'm a vampire, of course. Steed's Blessing. I don't have all my points in it, but a fair amount. And of course, Out of Sight to keep my sneaking high up there. But the rest is just utility. We'll get into these other points later. Skills wise, I've got medium armor. Again, I spend almost nothing when in sneak mode. That's really important, and really lends itself to massive advantages. In a moment, I'll explain to that why that is in a minute. Ledger Domain, again, I spend nothing in stealth, and so the main armor set that I really build this concept around is the Darlock Bray set. This set is amazing. So, and pay attention to this real closely, because I think everybody skips it. And if you look at the market and the price for it, it's not very expensive. There's a lot of it, especially now that the events going on. The prices have dropped really low, but they were low before. That's how I got all my gear. But this set, okay, so I'm getting magic recovery. I'm getting stamina recovery, so it's up for hybrids. And this is a hybrid set, or a hybrid build. It reduces my stamina, or my radius detection, which is awesome. Suits itself for night blades, right? Uh, Now, while crouching and not blocking, so it's not for tanks, obviously, right? Uh, and again, uh, if you attack, you get taken out of crouching, right? So it's either for between fights as a DPS, or it's for healers. I maintain this is for a sustained set for healers, and it was intended to be from the beginning. Now hear me out. This set is awesome. I mean, look at how much it restores my magic and stamina and health every second, as long as I stay crouched. Now, it's really important to note, it says crouched, not stealthed, hidden. It says crouched. That means this dummy over here, he can see me. And I will still get my benefit. I will still get it. Just because he sees me does not mean I will not get the benefit from this set. As long as I see that I am still getting healed. You see that 700 damage ticking every second? Every time that ticks, I'm also getting that same amount in stamina and magicka. That is huge, on top of my regeneration, right? So no, I don't have massive magic or stamina pools. I don't need them. I can spam my married butt off. Now, yeah, sure, my heals aren't incredibly powerful, but you'll see why that's not overly necessary with the concept that I'm going for. So the sustain that I have is absolutely ludicrous. And you could build and rearrange the stats for more powerful heals if you wanted to. Either stamina or magicka, or both. The way I set it up is for resource sustain, and AoE heals. It's basically in PvP, and I'm sure you'll recognize it. Players run all over the damn map. Cyrodiil, in the matches, they don't. Now, it's not like in the Trialite it was just in, where they group up and they're told to stack, and they all stack, and they all do what they're told. No. It's total chaos, especially in deathmatch. They're all over the damn map, and so, that's why I have regeneration, and then I have grand healing, vital. I can't remember what this one's called, but explode is, and then I have to be able to run to catch up to some people. It's necessary to be able to do that, in order to keep my team alive. I need skills that don't require, one, accuracy, and two, they need to be able to have some range on them. But they also need to apply the heal over time to help keep them alive as they're taking damage and running all over the damn place. So I don't have to babysit them and try to look for that moment when they need this giant heal. Instead, they're just constantly getting heals, right? And so these are all HOTS. Almost all of them are HOTS, right? And of course, I have my shadow, shadow cloak, Mage Light. Now, the Mage Light morph I have allows me to reveal other stealthers, which comes in handy in certain fights when you know there's, you know, especially if they're a really good ganker. It just ruins their day, but it also keeps your party from getting stunned if they do get jumped by a ganker, even if you don't have Mage Light on. But so there's a couple good things in PvP, and you get the added bonus of having your crits improved. So this is basically what I have on my front bar. Pretty basic, all heals, all mobile. Everything's pretty simple and ready to move. You'll notice I don't have major expedition because or any expedition buffs, because I have, for my second set of armor, Adept Rider. And boy, you should have seen in the other healer when he learned that I had Adept Rider. Oh, I don't have it set up for you. In the PvP video you saw, I had Adept Rider as my second set. When the other healer in the raid heard that I had Adept Rider, he started getting all preachy. And I'm like, dude, what are you complaining about? We're rocking this raid. What are you whining about? It was funny, but anyway, I love it when somebody decides that they know it all and decides to tell you how you should play your game. But anyway, the Adept Rider allows me to maintain that mobility without needing to buff myself. The set I have on here right now is an alternative set you may like for extra healing, which is the prayer set, the prayer shawl, which gives shields for overhealing. And let me tell you, the setup that I have is heavy on overhealing. These hots that you apply, they will get a shield every 2 seconds, over and over again. In fact, here's something really interesting. A little synergy with the Darlock Bray set that most people, I think, are completely unaware of with the Darlock Bray set and the Prayer Shawl. When the Darlock Bray set heals you, you may have noticed when the video first started that I was exploding every 2 seconds. That's the Darlock Bray overhealing me and causing the Prayer Shawl to give me an overshield. And you'll notice it gives me a 6,000 point shield on top of my 36,000 health. So I have essentially 42,000 health effectively. And if something hits me 2 seconds later, I'm going to have another shield. You see what I'm saying? It's pretty awesome. So, like, if I'm stealth, see? So you're going to see this exploding all the time. That explosion is a new shield. New 6,000 point shield every time. So if somebody throws down an AoE near me and it eats up 6,000 shields, poof, I just got another 6,000 shield. So the cool thing about the Prayer Shawl is that it eats a lot of area of effect and random damage if it hits me. The bad thing about it is I slow down a little, you know, but I pair it with fun monster sets, or, you know, if I want to speed back up, I'll put, you know, Ring of the Wild Hunt on, and that seems to make things go, you know, smooth again. So, but I thought you'd find this a fun little addition. But it seems to really bolster the team's survivability Now, on this note, in addition to amping up the team's survivability with this prayer shawl set, you could also, with the champion points, one of the skills I really enjoy. So, of course, because my spell power is so low, I go heavy on crits. Now, as a healer, and you probably already know this, nobody's resisting heals, crits from heals. Nobody. So, in order to amp up my damage a little bit, especially in PvE, and my healing, the best answer for both of those problems is crit, right? So I amped up my crit chance, and then I went here to this node and got this. Now this is an amazing skill right here. Basically, whenever you heal yourself or an ally under 25% health, you grant them a damage shield. Well, I've got 3 damage over time skills that cover my entire party. Hell, I was just in a raid and I had 3 damage over or heals over time on 12 people going all at the same time. And if any of them got below 25%, they got this 11,000 point damage shield. And the other healer, who had much bigger heals, was able to clutch heal them out of their jam. And, it was... So, yeah, well, Mr. Preachy Healer, was going on that, blah, 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 I didn't have proper sets, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He didn't understand. I was not built to be like him. I was built to supplement him, right? So this skill is an amazing skill, especially in PvP, because most people in PvP, and I'm sure you'll agree, don't depend on a healer. They go and set themselves up to have their own heals, and if they have a healer, awesome, but they try not to depend on them. So when one comes along and offers them a little bit of a cushion in an oh shit moment, they can usually bring themselves up out of it from there. And that's what that skill's for. And then what I have over here to help boost my power a little bit is I got this one to boost some weapon and spell damage, and this one to do the same thing for the heals. And then along over here, this node increases the effectiveness of the damage shield a little bit further by 15%. So that should add another, almost 2,000 health to that shield, and the prayer shawl too, for that matter. And then this is nice because it grants recovery to my health recovery to my character just for sitting on my ultimate. And I'll explain why I have the ultimate I have. You might raise an eyebrow at first until I explain why. I don't actually use it. I just have it parked there for the perk I get from the tree. Max health, and then I'm going into rejuvenation here to get more health recovery, and this build is really heavy on recovery because it's all about being able to keep those heals and move them as people are. For example, grand healing, you can only have 1 grand healing on the ground at any one time. And so if the battle moves across the map, and it does quite often, you can recast it and relocate it as the battle moves with impunity because your magic replaces so quickly. With a demonstration level, still going poof, 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 right? And then look at my magic. I only have 14k, and I'm casting as if I have 30, right? And then if I ever get a little too low in a clutch situation, I just pop my stamina, give the magic a rest, and go back at it again, right? And that's the other little secret to the success of this build, is that I don't lean entirely on one of my resource pool. I use both, and that's where I'm going to get into the other my damage back bar, which is with a prayer shawl. It's a destruction lightning staff, but I don't have it set up at the moment on my skills for that. But I would. I'll go to the destruction skills. I was using Wall of Elements, but you remember laying down a field of damage over time kept revealing me, right? Was no good. I found Impulse to be much better. It's not as strong, but it does give benefits to you in that it gives you minor protection. It has a couple perks, especially the march, but I didn't get it there. Eventually, I gave up on it and decided to go for bows instead. Now, bows, there's two options with bows, but I opted for bombard. And I decided on my attack bar, the best option was to go for skills that attack and heal to keep up my healing. And the reason is siphoning here, sap essence. Since I'm going for a heal-oriented build, if I wanted to go on the offense and kind of keep the momentum going with sustaining my party and not have to babysit them so much, get a little aggressive and then not be suddenly like, oh shit, I forgot to heal. This allows me to heal while I'm damaging, right? And so Siphon, you have to be kind of close range, and it hits everybody around you and then heals everyone around you. I love Sap Essence. The beauty of it is it also gives you major brutality and sorcery, improving your damage with both your magic and stamina. This allows you to be a true hybrid, right? You're buffing both your magic and stamina weapons. So I don't have to pick one or the other weapon to buff either of them and do decent damage with them, right? Now, that's not Sork damage by any means, at all, but it's respectable. It's decent, if you see the enemy's distracted and you want to cause a little mayhem and add a little oomph to the assault, you can do that, and still ensure that the party is going to not fall behind on the heals. So Sap Essence is my magic attack, and then I pair that with a stamina version through the bow skill, which is, oh, sorry, here, the bombard skill. Now, what this does, it's like acid spray, except without the DOT, because the DOT will reveal me if I want to go back into stealth, right? This instead roots enemies in place, or yeah, it causes them to be immobilized, and then it slows them down for 3 seconds, roughly, right? Uh, nice little uh, uh, controlling effect, right? And area of effect damage. And if you need to go back into stealth, you just hit the crouch button and you're back in stealth and out of harm's way again, right? As a demonstration. I need to change my gear for that because I'm wearing the wrong set now. Let's see. Here we go. Depth Rider bow. No. It's a Depth Rider resto on the main. Back bar is metal. That's right. That's how it goes. And I had to get a little inventive because at the time I set up these sets, I didn't have the mats to improve my jewelry, so I had to swap things around a little bit. So you're gonna see things get a little interesting, but I think, yeah, 5 of that. Oh yeah, and you know, I got Malubeth here on the shoulders. Everything else is Darlock Bray and Adept Rider now. Yeah, 5 and 5. Alright, we're all set. So now you'll notice when I crouch, there's no more explodey effect. And you'll also notice my heal as I crouch is not as powerful as before. But you give some, you gain some, you lose some. You know, I move a lot faster now, right? And this is also a little bit tankier because it has more armor with the Adept Rider, and I just love the mobility. This was the armor set that I was using in that video you saw, and the setup. So I decided, unlike that video you saw, to go to bow, however, and the reason is when I attack an enemy, you know, I can open with, say, Sap Essence here and root them in place with the bow, right? Now, pay attention to the resource pools here. You know, yeah, sure, it uses 3,500 of the magic out of a very limited resource pool. But then if I alternate, right? Here's the thought. When I'm using stamina to attack, my magic is able to replenish. When I'm using magic to attack, my stamina is able to replenish, right? So that's the idea behind this build, is you alternate. That's why there's a stamina attack and a magic. When I'm using one, I'm letting the other regenerate. And then when I want to bug out, do my thing, roll out of it and get the hell out of dodge. Stay in stealth, because that's how I get my magic and stamina back go back to heal, get the party back up to speed, and then go back at it again, right? And that's pretty much how this whole build operates in a nutshell. Well, I say nutshell, but it took me like 30 minutes to explain the whole damn thing. Now, you'll see here I have 35% spell critical, 52% weapon critical, 42% max health. That's because of the Death Dealer ring that I have on. That's another great thing. The Death Dealer Fet. You'll also notice I have Swift Enchant on it, and the Tri-Stat. I've invested some stuff into my jewelry. The only thing I have left to do now is gold them out, and I'm already starting to gold some of the gear. But so let's see, what haven't I covered here? Yeah, covered the skills. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you why I had the ultimate that I did. Okay, so assassination. Right here in assassination. So you have to have an assassination ability slotted. Some kind of assassination ability slotted in order to get this really awesome perk, which basically dealing critical damage grants you and your group minor savagery, increasing your weapon critical rating. So here's the thing, I already have like a pretty high critical rating, but when I hit something for critical damage, I get even more. The only problem I had with that was that I couldn't find any place to put a skill except in the ultimate, and I didn't want to use the ultimate anyway because of the champion point node over here that gives me recovery or health recovery when I have a whole bunch of ultimate. And so you'll notice the advantage in that is I have 2,000 health recovery right now, and I'm a vampire. So, that's a major perk. And 40,000 health, I run like the wind. I can stealth whenever I want, which is an aggro dump, right? Average spell damage, average weapon damage. And this is a pretty damn awesome little setup. And then when people finally do see me and realize I'm even present for them to attack me, I have 40k health and I can stealth away even after they've stunned me. Usually by the time they catch me, I'm out. It doesn't take me long and I get away. So, and you saw that in the video. This is a pretty fun build, but I think I've covered pretty much everything. I hope you like it, and yeah, I'll see you in game.